I appreciate the irony that I'm hands to keyboard at my computer, pondering what to say, pondering where this story goes from here, this story from the signal. To be specific, the story from Mike over at Great Find Signal. I'm looking at a picture of an inkwell that he found. It has a story, one that years ago could have originated in the ink contained within, but its story is told with technologies it doesn't recognize. Let me take you to the stream where Mike found this inkwell.
Check out this what we think is going to be an inkwell.
Oh my gosh, guys. I thought it was just like an aluminum trash, but I got out here in the sun. I found it over there in the shade. And there's like a pattern, and it's an old inkwell. Would have had a little lid on it, probably would have came back at one time.
Yeah.
And Patrick thinks it could be sterling.
It might be. I mean, it has that tarnish, that patina to it.
Oh, yeah, look in there.
Yeah. Were you picking up a hallmark?
Yeah, well, I don't know, the color in there looks, see?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
There's no way that'd be aluminum. It's too new or too old for that.
Yeah. It might be silver.
I'm happy.
That's really nice, Mike.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah, nice.
Pretty cool, guys. Can you see the pattern on it, everybody? It's like a little design on the, it's like etched, isn't it, almost?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
What would you say, Patrick? 1850s? 1800s?
I would think so, yeah.
Old, yeah.
1800s, I would think, yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Thanks,
Congrats.
man. Yeah.
As you see, he didn't know what he had when he first found it. That's not too uncommon. Found items like this are often out of context, and this is not the perfect version of its former self. So to be confused about it is understandable. This happens often when a relic first comes from the ground, or in this case, a stream bed. I'm sure there are some purists out there, some devout ink and quill fans who enjoy the art, who are romantic about the idea of crafting words from tools from the past. My scribbles are sometimes a mystery to me when I revisit them, and my left-handedness results in considerable smudges, so a fountain pen, and certainly not an ink and quill, would ever be my writing preferences. The keyboard is my tool of choice. It instantly fixes all the typos and misspellings. Words I've tried to correctly spell for years, but for some reason still can't get right. Thankfully, PCs have been around for me going back to college when I first used them for any kind of word editing. Prior to that, I had a typewriter that I used in high school. It was digital and allowed you to see part of the line you were typing. You could edit words as needed, and when you got to the end of the line, it would then print to paper. At that point, you were stuck with what you had written. And before that word processor-ish typewriter, I had just a plain old typewriter. Now, my memory's a little murky. I'm trying to figure out, was it electric? Was that even a thing? I remember typing on very old typewriters in school when I first learned to type. Those machines were a workout for the pinkies. I recall my typewriter at home being easier to use. A quick search reveals yes, of course that was a thing. Electric typewriters were the equivalent of a car with power steering. Just what age are my viewers? I don't get enough traffic to get those analytics. I'm not sure electric typewriters and powerless steering is something that would resonate with the youth of today. I'll text my son. He's 19 and the perfect demographic to figure out if this analogy is going to land. A bit more irony sending a text instead of using the old inkwell to correspond. He's at work scooping ice cream right now at the local shop, so he may not respond right away. Maybe an old-fashioned letter would be just as quick. We'll have to wait for his response. The typewriter was invented in 1868. The electric typewriter was introduced around 1920. But based on my experience, manual typewriters were probably around for quite some time in popular use. I wasn't invented until 1972, and they were still being used after that. Various forms of writing tools go back thousands of years. Fingers, chisel-type styluses, and reed pens. But it's not until around 600 AD that the feather quill and ink began to soar, pun intended. Around 950 AD, the fountain pen is prototyped with various versions created for almost 1,000 years, including an invention from Leonardo da Vinci. Ballpoint pens will come along in the late 1800s, and felt tip shortly thereafter. For something so important as the written word, perhaps one of mankind's greatest power, it's kind of amazing how long it took for the tools and mediums to evolve. And now I have to reframe the image in my head. Upon seeing this inkwell emerge from the stream, my imagination placed a quill next to it, and now I'm second guessing it. We believe this inkwell was from the early 1800s, maybe even the late 1700s. We have no exacting proof. I have yet to find another version like this with some documentation that I can compare. But now I'm picturing Thomas Jefferson. Not that he would have used this particular inkwell, but don't our paintings of him show him with a quill? Yes, they do. Okay, I'm back to the idea of a quill sitting next to this inkwell. For me, there is something more primal about the quill over the fountain pen. And so I wonder what this looked like in its original shape. What did the lid look like? Was there a base, and what did it look like? Was the container that held the ink glass or porcelain? There, that's a word I can never spell. Shouldn't it be porcelain or porcelain? I before E, never mind. What does this look like brand new? Where did the owner acquire it? I try using this powerful new AI, and, well, the results are not quite what I'd like, even using the image as a reference. I mean, what are these things? I have to use my imagination and not AI. But I can picture someone in the early 1800s sitting in their house, fire off to the side crackling, modest-sized wooden desk, pewter inkwell, and quill. Okay, let's give AI one more try since I can't draw. What is going on here? This one looks like something MC Escher would draw. Oops, I typed porcelain. Still can't spell it instead of pewter. Why this one has a radiator instead of a crackling fire is beyond me. Now this one I can use. This is our man in his house with a modest desk. And look, his hands are normal. I hadn't pictured the books in my imagination. I think they are a nice detail for this scene. Long before this inkwell was discarded, most likely because it wasn't modern enough, simple enough to use, it sat proud on a desk. It had stories to tell, letters to write. The ink would pool inside, anxious to get out and arrange in a way that could take the thoughts from one person and over distance and time soak into another's mind. The telling of travels taken, successful farming seasons, the admittance of love, the heartbreak of loss, all spilled from this inkwell, only to be filled again and spilled again. At times monotonous speak of daily life or rantings of the issues of the day. This well wept ink tears as letters were written to the boys who would go off and fight in the Civil War, as their loved ones at home sat eager for their next correspondence. They would write to make the soldiers feel normal, feel connected. This inkwell was witness to the bond of those words. But this inkwell had one last story. For too many years it was drowning in water, a liquid not suitable to writing. It yearned for ink. It hadn't learned that the typewriter was being used, that ballpoint and felt-tip pens had taken over, that computers have changed the speed at which we can write and correct and push words to our readers. It's a little sad to emerge and find this out. It's a little sad it couldn't be used to scribe these words. But it found a home in Mike's collection among the other artifacts, who all have their own stories to tell.